Picture this. You're in a modeling competition and you're doing fairly well. You're in the last round of model shoots and there's only one competitor left. Just you and this person. And unfortunately, you lose. But you're furious. You think to yourself, how could I have possibly lost this shoot in a million years? My jawline's sharper than Starlight's fake ass cheekbones, my hair is more fabulous than this guy on TikTok, and my fit is trippier than Will Ferrell in that SNL skit back in 2017. But then the other competitor walks out and it all makes sense. It was Bubba. And his six-pack is more defined than the word defined. So you promptly end yourself since you know you'll never be as handsome and sexy as Bubba. But anyways, today we're gonna be ranking each Overwatch hero based on how hot their abs are. And yes, I know I said the last tier list was the second to last one, but unfortunately, I had a very busy week this week and didn't have time to get the finale out, so abs it is. But enough rambling, let's get into the rankings. The first autistic ab autist we're going to be talking about today is D.Va, and due to the fact that D.Va has like 0.01% body fat, she's going to be placed higher by default. She doesn't exactly have a six-pack that catches your eye when you look at her, but you know damn well she's got some nice peritoneums. But when you take her shirt off, or when she takes her shirt off rather, her abs surprisingly aren't even that defined. Like she just kinda got a cute little stomach. So I think I'm gonna level out the playing field and place D.Va at C tier. Next up we got Doomfist. And Doom's abs are so defined that I can't even tell the difference between each pack in his six pack to his chest. Each bulge in his six pack looks like a separate pec. And every time I look at these pectoral pits, I indulge in adding another bulge to the pack. Doomfist abs are next to none. I don't even know how it's possible to be blessed with such an exquisite gift. So, I'm gonna put Doom in S tier. Next up we got the woman who has the most angelic abdominal muscles I have ever had the blessing to lay my eyes upon, and who I also wish I could lay my dressing upon. Chunker Queefin. The whole reason you clicked on this video is not only because you saw it was made by the best YouTuber on the planet, but because you saw JQ's delectably tasty looking six pack and couldn't resist yourself. So I reckon that's enough said. Just take one more look before we move on. Chunker Queen, S tier. I've said queef instead of queen so many times it's starting to sound incorrect. Next up is Mauga. If JQ has the most delectable abs I've ever seen, Mauga has the most undelectable abs I've ever seen. Cause I'm convinced this dude doesn't even have abs, and he just has 4 nipples. Take a look at this man's chest. If those aren't pecs and are in fact visceras, then homie's got a 2-pack. So for the sake of the video, I'm gonna assume they are his visceras, meaning Mauga's getting placed in F tier. When speaking about his abs is the only time I'll ever say Mauga needs a buff. Next up is Orisa. She looks like how I'd imagine Lizzo to look if she ever got plastic surgery. Look at this picture. How do you have a fat roll when you're a robot? Terrible. Orisa Lama Bin Laden's going in F tier. Next up is Ramattra. And for an Omnic, Ramattra's got a pretty remedial rack of a stomachal muscle. I'm pretty sure those metal bars are supposed to act as his ribcage, but I'd like to think they're his abs instead, cause that's more badass. So I'm gonna give Ram My Astra a solid B tier. Damn, I'm really speed running this shit. Next up is Reinhardt, and Jesus Christ does this man have some lush, lucrative, ludicrous, lickable abdominals. They almost look unnatural due to the fact that he's such an ancient bass turd. It makes no sense why he needs to be this jacked, but I'm not complaining. His abs are every man's dream, and Lord knows they make me scream. Wow, like cream. So I'm gonna give my man a solid A tier. Next up is the winner of the model shoot, Bubba. Cause all you gotta do is take a little peek at Bubba's not so little peek to understand why he easily clapped your ass in the competition. Go ahead and sign a petition of your own in the comment section on where you think Bubba should stand. Cause I personally believe his abs are out of this world. Literally. They don't exist. But I heard women like dad bods nowadays anyways, so Bubba's still going in S tier. Next up is Sigma. Now I didn't even know Sigma had a skin without a shirt until I found this godsend of an outfit. So I can safely say that Sigma certainly has some surreal, succulent, successfully sexy abdominal skin lumps. Oh my god, dude. I had like fucking 1% lung capacity left. Sigma is the opposite of celibate, but if he ever made an OF, you can bet your sweet homosexual cheeks that shit would celibate. Yes, I stole that line from an Eminem song. This is the only photo I found of Sigma's Sigma male six-pack, so be sure to savor it. With that being said, Sigma's going in A tier. Next up is orangutan Overwatch himself, Winton. Is it racist to misidentify an animal? Whatever. I'd still smash even if he was a different breed of monkey man. In the last tier list, Winton low-key got dunked on a bit due to the fact that the subject was meat, and sadly his meat was deemed to hell by Blizzard for absolutely no reason. But you know what wasn't deemed to hell, but rather deemed to undiscovered pits even deeper than hell? His even more non-existent celiac muscles? The fuck even is that word? To be frank, Winton's abs low-key just suck asshole. There's no beating around the bush. Speaking of bush, did you know he did 9/11? Winton gets F tier. Next up is Hammond, and this little fucker needs to participate in some ham boning or something, cause he's got not a single ounce of definition anywhere on his body other than that Jack Blackified stomach. Now if Hammond was actually Jack Black, he would be an S tier, cause Jack's an absolute mad lad of a man, but Hammond is no such thing. In fact, he's nothing. He should just uninstall the video game known as life. Don't worry though, if you play Hammond, that doesn't make me like you any less. Hammond's going straight into S tier. I mean, S tier? F tier? Jesus, dude. Like, for the last skinkosified tank hero, we got Zarya. And thank God, because I was getting tired of talking bad about all these bitches. Zarya's got that whoa man build, where if I ever saw her in real life, I would definitely be like, whoa man. Zarya's abs are something to be reckoned with. See what I did there? Zarya, S tier. Moving on to the delectable pussy sucker heroes. And next up we got Ashe. And Miss Ashe Cash is very similar to Diva, with her being a rather skinny bloquette. Her hip to waist ratio is out of this world, but in a good way. She doesn't exactly have a six pack or anything, but her stomach is hot as shit, so I don't even care. So she's going in S tier. If you don't agree, suck me off. Next up is Bastion. Shit, not that Bastion. This one. Oh fuck it, that ain't even funny. But you know what is funny? Bastion's sad excuse for a six pack. The only six pack this fucker has is a six pack of batteries on hand in case he becomes too drained from his PTSD attacks, or from that bird that almost certainly drains Bastion's pecker with that almighty bird pecker it's got equipped. I can only joke about these robots for so long until I run out of oil, or rather they run out of oil. Bastion, F tier. Next up is Cassidy, or should I say Fantastic Absidy, cause this fucker has one of the nicest male six packs I've ever seen, and I've seen my fair share of dickified six packs. In a non-sexual way, of course. Carcity's abs are exactly what I want mine to look like. The only problem is, I don't actually hit abs. Instead, I just stare at other people from 2 feet behind them while they do. But they don't know that, of course, because I'm hiding behind a wall. Anyways, let's wrap this up. Same way I want to wrap my arms around Cassidy's nutsack. Well, Cassidy gets an emphatic S tier. Next up is Cody Co. Shit, I mean Echo. I almost forgot Echo prefers her companions over 18. Usually I put Echo towards the bottom of the list, or in the middle. But I honestly think she's got a nice ass stomach. Although her abs are non-existent, the hip to waist ratio is unmatched, similar to Ashe. But seriously, her abs actually cease to exist. Like, that shit is flatter than what 33% of millennial Americans believe the earth is. I had a stroke trying to say that shit. 33% of millennial Americans believe the earth is flat. There you go. So since Echo's abs simply don't exist, but her stomach is beautiful, I think it's fair to put her in D tier. Next up is Genji. Just by looking at this dog eater, shit, I'm sorry. Some people got mad at me last time I said that. Just by looking at this vagina-eyed hooligan suit, you can tell he's bound to have a ravishing set of abdominals glued under that shit. If Mercy glued Genji's human cock back on, I don't see why she couldn't stick his six-pack back together as well. And when you actually see his abs, you quickly understand why there's so many Rule 34 drawings of this man where his shirt is off. They're great, just like Frosted Flakes. So I'm gonna place my boy in B tier. Next up, we got the other side of the incestual 6'9", Hanzo. And Hanzo's a bit less lean than his brother, meaning he's got more mass to his pack. Usually, that would mean his abs are less defined, but in reality, they're just as nice, if not only a little bit worse. Now, if we're referring to fan drawings of Hanzo, homie gets S+ tier, but from looking at his canonical beach skin, you can see that his pack is an ever so slight lack. So I'm gonna put Hanzo a tier below Genji in C tier. Next up is Drunkrat, because every time I hear this man, I want to drink myself to death. Unironically, Drunkrat's abs are decently defined, probably because of all the Breaking Bad substances he inhales on a daily basis, or because he's a victim of anorexia. Other than his jawline, his abs are the only other good part about his entire build. Everything else on his body makes me want to perform an Olympic dive straight into an active hot spring. That being said, I gotta give him credit, although it'll never happen again. Drunkrat gets B tier. Next up is May. Unfortunately, unless we're talking about this this drawing, where Mei has the most inconceivable six-pack my eyes have ever conceived, Mei really just doesn't have much. As Manny from Ice Age said, Mei isn't fat, she's just a little poofy, and poofy people usually have loosely groovy skin, which leads to them not having observable abs. So I'm sorry, Mei enjoyers, but I'm gonna have to place her in D tier, cause her stomach still has me feeling a certain type of way. Next up is Pharah. She's honestly just an upgrade from Mei. Her abs aren't really defined, I just think her stomach is attractive. Then again, she has a bit less poofiness in her food chasm, so I'm gonna give Pharah a C tier. I know that was short, but so are my wank sessions when looking at Pharah, so yeah. Next up we got Reaper. In Low Kizzle, Reaper's abysmally attractive abdominals are one of his best features. I don't care if his abs aren't canonical, they're still phenomenal. If you've learned anything while watching my awful tier list videos, you've learned that almost every feature on Reaper is almost perfection. So in order to reduce my erection, I'm gonna quickly place Reaper in S tier for soggy biscuit. Next up is Sojourn. Even though she's a phony, since she's just a disguised robot, her abs are still robust. The sculpt of her abs are something only an artificial intelligence could sculpt. If you could get plastic surgery for your abs, Sojourn would be the peak results. To be honest, I don't even know if Sojourn has nice abs. I'm just going off of this one drawing, so this could be completely wrong. What am I saying? It's physically impossible for me to be wrong. Sojourn gets an S tier. Next up is Soldier. I don't think there's even a singular way I can make this seem hetero, but Soldier's pack makes me want to start pack-ing my sack. His abs are beautiful, and if I was a penile organ enjoyer, which I am unfortunately not, I'm sure I would be praising him more. But for now, I'm gonna place Soldier in B tier, because I still gotta give him the respect he deserves. Next up is Slobracita. Shit, I mean Sombra. Now I haven't actually seen Sombra's abs, but I reckon they're pretty similar to Diva and Ashe's. The only difference between them being Sombra's silky, superb skin tone that has no business being that dopamine inflicting. Speaking of inflicting, I want to inflict Sombra's PNG straight into S tier, cause that's the only place she belongs. You horny fuckers thought I was gonna say I want to flick her bean, huh? Nah, I would never do that ungodly shit, because she's not real. Next up we got Symmetra, and for the sake of this being the semi-finale of all the tier lists, enjoy one of the final Sim and Sombra going hand in hand photos I found. And now that the contractual obligation is over, allow me to force you into another one. Join my Discord server, and also check the description for the link with the rainbows around it. I heard if you click that, you add 14 inches to your penis. Now, let's talk about Symmetra's excellently exhibited abs. Dude, it took me like 400 times to try to say that, and that was still awful, so I'm just gonna roll with it. Symmetra's abs are exactly like Sombra's, while also being more attractive somehow. I don't know how to explain this shit to you. Just look at it yourselves. You can see the shit, and it's the most excellent shit I've ever seen, other than EDP shit pics. So, I'm gonna place Sim in S tier for shit pics. Next up is Torbjorn. For some reason, I have a distant memory of seeing a Torbjorn image where he had the most mind-boggling midget six-pack I've ever seen. But no matter how long I spent looking for that image, I couldn't find it. So maybe I'm just restarted. But you know what else is restarted? Torbjorn's sad excuse for a six-pack. Torbjorn is fatter than Lizzo and Eat That Pussy 445 combined. But I'm gonna save the rest of what I was about to say for the Torbjorn slander video. So, Torb F tier. Next up is Tracer. Matter of fact, I think I can trace each line on Tracer's traceable triathlon looking body, cause she's the skinniest bloquette in the game by far, which means she's got the same feature Drunkrat has. Her skinniness defines her abs by default, but they're not crazy. So, similar to Junkrat, I'm gonna put her in B tier. Next up is Venture, and I literally couldn't find a single photo of this they where their shirt is off, which is probably a good thing, cause that keeps one less devious search out of my search history. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on Venture since I simply don't know what I'm working with. Then again, they seem to be pretty fit, which presumably means they got a pretty lean body fat percentage. So, I'm gonna place Venture in C tier. But you know who's not going in C tier? Widowmaker, cause this woman's abdomen not only produces a silky web-like substance, but it also makes me want to produce a silky web-like substance. If Sombra's skin tone is beautiful, then Widow's skin tone could only be matched with God, no glaze. Although I would curtently love to glaze Widow's sexual six-pack, I should probably just make a video dedicated to glazing Widow's 69 out of 10 features, cause that's pretty much what I've been doing throughout this entire series. So as you probably expected, I'm gonna slide Widow's abs straight into S tier. Moving on to the succulent support support heroes. And first up, we got Ana. Unfortunately, we're going to be talking about current Ana. And current Ana's abs certainly aren't defined. Dutch. She's probably got 6 hammock-like skin flaps swinging in the wind, actually. But hey, you can't go wrong with a gilf every once in a while. So I'm going to place Ana in D tier. Next up is Baptiste. Bap's abs are pretty much identical to Doomfist, although Bap should technically be more defined due to the fact that a huge part of his kit is to jump constantly. Alright, I just came back to this after completing the video. I don't know what the fuck I was smoking when writing this shit, because the only thing Doomfist does is fucking jump. So that makes everything I just said pointless. So I'm just gonna skip to the end of this. Bap's 6-pack packs a mean punch, so he's going straight into S tier. Next up is Brig, and if I didn't use this Wonder Womanly wonderful woman in the armpit tier list thumbnail, I would have used this picture in this video's thumbnail, because my god are these perfect. They're not too in your face, but they're defined just enough to force your noodle into noticing them. I just want to touch them for some reason. That's gotta mean something. So I'm gonna place Brig in S tier for perfect. Next up is Illari, and again, I couldn't really find a proper image of Illari's abdominals, but we can take a guess from what we've got. From looking at Illari's base skin, we can see that her hip to waist ratio equivalates to approximately 0.75, which means she has a very high probability of being equipped with a high profile sexy 6-pack. So with this information and research out of the way, I would like to introduce Illari into B tier. Next up is Kiriko. Now she's an Asian, which means her metabolism is naturally going to be high, which in terms means her abs are likely popping. And what do you know? They're pretty nice. There's not really a 6-pack, but her stomach's still quite appealing to the eye. So I'm gonna give her an A tier, because I don't think it's quite worthy enough to join the great S. Next up is Wifeleaver, which is a very fitting name, because I would leave my wife in an instant to get this slight chance of rubbing up against Wifeleaver's beautiful boy abs. Oh my god, dude. Like, they're poking out of his fucking robe, for Christ's sake, man. Weaver's got the best looking abs in the game, no question. I honestly should have used him in the thumbnail instead of Junkerqueef, but it is what it is. Lifeweaver, S tier. Next up is Lucio. Looking at Lucio's capoeira skin, whatever the fuck, you can see that he's got, you know, a decent set of abs, but nothing too special. I don't want to put him in C tier, because I honestly believe most of the blokes in there have better abs than Lucio. So I'm gonna place him in D tier, because they're just aight. Next up is Mercy, and Mercy's another woman that has a rather sleek looking silly belly welly on her. That sounded creepy as shit. But you know what else is creepy as shit? The thousands of Mercy ab pics I have locked in my closet that I have yet to come out of. It's crazy, because Mercy has yet to be placed lower than a C tier. Because Mercy has yet to be placed lower than a C tier, I think. I don't know. Once I post one of these videos, I seem to just completely forget where the fuck the heroes were placed, so maybe that's just my dementia acting up. Anyways, Mercy's going in A tier. Next up, we got Moira, and this woman's hip to waist ratio is a solid 0.01, which is the same as her body fat percentage, meaning her abs are going to be more defined than the fact that my entire family disowned me after finding my YouTube channel. So this means there's only one place to put Mother Moira. F tier. Lastly, thankfully, we got Zen, and Mr. Yada's abs are anything but Zen, because they literally don't exist. Although if they did, they would have to be strong as shit, because this dude kicks creatures that are 100 times his mass like it's nothing. So for that fact, I'm gonna place Zen in D tier for diabolical. And that was the autistic abdominal tier list. This is the final main tier list of season 1. The next list will be the finale, so be sure to stay tuned. And also stay tuned for after the finale. I got some devious plans ahead. So, thanks for watching my schnookums, and I'll see y'all later.